How does an industry win 80% of the global market and still lose money for 10 straight quarters? In 2021, Chinese solar companies looked like unstoppable winners. The world needed clean energy, China controlled the supply chain, capacity doubled and doubled again. Investors called it the next industrial monopoly. 5 years later, the same industry ships panels below cash cost. The dominant players lose money on every unit. This is the velocity disconnect, and it is not just solar. It is showing up in EVs, in batteries, in every sector. Where commercialization speed outpaced the discipline of building a structural advantage that captures value. Last episode, DeepSeek showed us how position in the capital chain determines return. This episode, we move to the deployment chain. Same principle, different battlefield. Velocity gets you to the gate. Position decides what happens when you get there. Few countries in modern history have achieved this level of dominance in energy technology. China controls over 80% of the global solar supply chain. More than 1,000 gigawatts of manufacturing capacity, nearly double what the world installs each year. The numbers are extreme, and that is the point. 1,100 gigawatts of module capacity against 550 gigawatts of global demand. 2-to-1 oversupply. Polysilicon, 3 times what the world needs. Average utilization, 35%. When capacity runs twice as fast as demand, prices collapse. Polysilicon fell 88% from peak. Module prices dropped below 0.69 RMB per watt, the cash cost line. Below that, every unit shipped is a unit lost. The financial damage, 22 listed solar companies on A-shares posted combined losses of 10.5 billion RMB in Q1 2026. The world's largest and second largest module makers both reported net losses in the same quarter. Dominant players, losing money on dominance. Now here is the part most coverage misses. The pain is not distributed equally. Same oversupply, same price collapse, different outcomes determined by structural position. Tongwei, the largest polysilicon producer, still generates a thin profit. Cheap hydropower in Sichuan and Yunnan gives it a structural cost advantage no competitor can replicate without the same resource access. GCL technology survives on a different edge. Granular silicon uses significantly less electricity and carries a better carbon footprint, increasingly critical for export qualification. These two hold the gate resource access and technological advantage. Everyone else fights for scraps. CR, 5 polysilicon concentration, 75% in 2023, 82% in 2024, projected above 85% in 2026. Overcapacity is real, but it is not distributed evenly. The weak are being culled. The strong use the downturn to consolidate control. Speed built the industry. Position decides who survives it. Now look at electric vehicles. Different industry, same pattern. China's EV price war ran for 3 years. In Q1 2026, the domestic auto sector's profit margin hit 3.2%, barely half the 6% historical average for Chinese manufacturing. This is not a margin. It is a rounding error. The fastest scaler is not immune. BYD's H1 2026 sales fell 15.9% year-on-year. Its 2025 net profit dropped 19%, the first decline in 4 years. The company that pioneered price for volume discovered the volume does not always follow the price. And then something changed. Since March 2026, nearly 20 electron volts models raised prices, not because demand surged, because the cost structure left no choice. Lithium carbonate surged 125% since July 2025. Automotive-grade DRAM prices climbed roughly 180% over 3 months. UBS estimates memory chip inflation alone adds 3,000 to 7,000 RMB per vehicle. The price war ended not with a truce, but with exhaustion. Everyone ran as fast as they could toward the same finish line, and arrived to find there was no prize at the end, just thinner margins and a pile of unsold inventory. The parallel with solar is exact. Speed to scale, margin compression, structural pain, only structural advantage survives. In EVs, the control points are moving to 2 places: battery supply and overseas distribution. CATL holds 40.7% of the global battery market in Q1 2026. A record. BYD's overseas sales grew 70%, but that growth could not offset the domestic decline. What matters now is not manufacturing speed. It is who controls the bottleneck upstream and who owns the distribution channel downstream. So what is the velocity disconnect? It is the gap between how fast an industry scales and how durable the value capture is at the end of that scaling. Speed gets you volume. Volume does not automatically get you margin when every player has the same speed advantage. Cheap capital, fast iteration, massive domestic demand, speed becomes a commodity. The advantage evaporates the moment your competitor matches it. Think about what happened in solar. The 2021 to 2023 investment boom poured over 2.5 trillion RMB into the sector. Everyone scaled simultaneously. The result, 1,000 gigawatts of capacity chasing 550 gigawatts of demand. When everyone is fast, fast is not an edge, it is the baseline. The race becomes a war of attrition, and attrition favors the player with structural advantage, not the one with the fastest production line. This pattern repeats across Chinese industries. In batteries, capacity oversupply mirrors solar. In humanoid robotics, the government just set a target of 10,000 units deployed by end of 2026. How many companies are chasing that number? Enough to guarantee that when the target is met, the margin will have been competed away. The velocity disconnect has a formula. Speed times scale times no gate equals commodity. The gate is what separates volume from value. Without it, you are just the fastest person in a race to the bottom. Last episode, we saw the capital gate, DeepSeek. The founder controls 100% of the votes. Everyone else paid for access, not control. The velocity gate works the same way. The fastest to deploy does not automatically control the deployment. The one who controls the bottleneck, the polysilicon plant, the battery chemistry patent, the distribution network, captures the value. Speed gets you to the gate. Position determines whether you walk through. If velocity is not the answer, what is? Go back to the disconnect series. The exit gate when you arrive matters more than whether the gate opens. The deployment gate building a robot is not the same as shipping one. The permission gate, what agents can do, is not what banks are allowed to let them do. The capital gate, who holds the key, determines who captures return. Every episode traces the same pattern. Value accumulates at the gate, not at the end of the road. In the velocity context, the gate is the bottleneck, the point in the value chain where supply cannot be easily replicated, and demand must pass through. In solar, that bottleneck is polysilicon, CR5 above 85%, resource constrained. Not because the technology is impossible to replicate, but because the energy cost and the regulatory permits create a natural barrier. Tongwei's hydropower access is a gate. GCL's granular silicon certification is a gate. Module assembly is not. In EVs, the bottleneck is shifting from manufacturing to 2 points upstream and downstream. Upstream, battery supply. CATL's 40.7% market share is not just scale. It is a gate that every EV maker must pass through unless they build their own cells, which BYD did, but most others cannot afford. Downstream, overseas distribution and brand. Export is where the growth is, but building a dealer network in Europe or Southeast Asia takes years. That is a gate, not a sprint. In AI infrastructure, the bottleneck is the permission layer. Last episode, we saw Anthropic building Claude for financial services AI drafts. Human signs off. The model does the work. The permission layer controls the deployment. That is a gate. Speed of model training does not give you gate access. Speed of regulatory approval does. The investment implication is straightforward. When you evaluate a Chinese growth story, do not start with the growth rate. Start with the gate. 3 questions. 1. Where is the bottleneck in this value chain? 2. Does the company control it or just run fast toward it? 3. What happens to margin when everyone else catches up on speed? Test it. Solar, bottleneck, polysilicon. Does LONGi control it? No. LONGi makes modules. It runs fast toward the gate but does not hold the key. What happens when everyone catches up on speed? Module margins go to 0. Now the same test on Tongwei. Bottleneck. Polysilicon. Does Tongwei control it? Yes. Resource access gives it a structural edge. What happens when others match its speed? Tongwei's margin is insulated. Same industry, same oversupply, opposite answers, opposite outcomes. Speed is a tool. Position is an asset. The market pays a premium for position, not for speed. Solar proved it. EVs are proving it. The next industry, to scale fast without building a gate, will prove it again. China has built the fastest commercialization engine in the world. But speed alone does not create durable value capture. Solar, 80% plus global share, 10 quarters of losses. EVs, 3.2% industry margin after 3 years of price war. The pattern is the same. Speed times scale times no gate equals commodity. Position decides return. Not just in the capital chain, as we saw with DeepSeek, in the deployment chain too. The gate between volume and value is where the real asset lives. Polysilicon in solar, battery supply in EVs, permission layers in AI, distribution networks overseas.
Speed is a tool. Position is an asset. Next episode, we turn from the velocity gate to the permission gate, specifically the Chinese permission gap. Why access to the Chinese market does not automatically mean access to the value inside it. See you then.